energy exchange.
There's a meditative practice that is designed specifically that way.
And we were talking about how the internet has amplified the ability for people to do that.
Yeah.
And how AI will be the largest amplifier of all time.
Yeah.
And that in itself will be us molding with the machine, because our emotions, like right now, right? You can write a Facebook post.
Yeah.
I can read it and feel exactly what you wanted me to feel hours later. So it's like a superpower.
Yeah.
So like, imagine if a bunch of people got together and I think it's already happening. You know, we've known people who do this. We know people who meditate in groups on subjects or whatever. I told you I had a friend, shout out to Myrna, who does prayer groups. And if I need something or if I'm worried about something, I always call her, because I know to me it's science. It's just science. Like, yeah, they're all going to think good thoughts about me. That's dope. I'm going to get that energy.
Some of our scientist listeners just like had a heart attack right now. Saying that.
but that's, to me, that's what it is. You know, like I don't think one can exist. Like they can't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
You know, like when they start to pray, no laws of science like apply to them.
Yeah.
But if we meditate, it applies to us. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I think we should probably start the show.
We should start the show.
Yeah,
but that's kind of where I want to go with you today.
Okay.
All right.
You mean wait, hold on. No, you don't flush the toilet yet.
No,
don't flush the toilet yet. No, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And welcome to another stupendous episode of the Crappy Awesome Podcast. We're your hosts, the Digo Brown Project. I am Mr. Arash, even though nobody calls me Mr. And with me is KILLcRey, even though it was just going to go from Chris.
Hey.
Words. Words came out of my mouth.
Stumbling into this one.
I'm like, we're at, you know what? We're technically at Burner Podcast Studios right now.
We are. That's dope.
This is where a lot of my recording
crossover
happens. Yeah. And so like, as you can see, it's a lot more like comfortable, and I'm kind of like laying on my couch, and it's cozy.
Yes.
Of course, we are brought to you by Platform Collection. Make sure you go over to platformcollection.com and check out all the amazing content that's on there. There's music videos and essays and all kinds of shows and tons of stuff to keep you obligated to not leave your computer for the next multiple hours in a row.
Right.
Those are words that I just put together.
That was good. You see your brain's coming back.
Yeah, a little bit. There's, of course, while you're there, check out our sibling podcasts. There is Life on the Road with 60 East.
Yeah.
Really though.
With
Cookbook of LA Symphony. Orchestrated, hosted by Noah James and Lisa J, who have like their own fucking amazing podcast network going on.
Yeah,
they
do. I want to go. I want to be on Lisa's show, Women's Ways. I want to be on that show, man.
Yeah.
They need Lisa.
Yeah.
You need me and Arash.
You should get
to
separately
be on that show.
Each one of us should be on different shows.
Yeah.
That's 2 shows right there.
There's not enough testosterone.
Yeah.
Something could happen.
I was the only dude in a bachelorette party a few weeks ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that tight?
It was awesome. And like I had like a free pass to call
everybody. Because I
can
see how that could be tight.
It was
and
great.
Sometimes it could be like,
No, they were all great.
They all cried. I had to hold everybody's hair.
No, everybody was great. And like I had to break a free pass to call everybody bitches all night.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bitches.
Because it was being used so much.
Yeah.
They couldn't stop you.
Like, shut up, bitch. Yeah, bitch. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, back to our silly podcast. There's Proof of Life Radio and Status Escalate, 2 different shows hosted by the amazing Kali. The amazing Kali. I was actually on Status Escalate. I recorded an interview recently.
Yeah, is that coming out soon?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know when it's coming out.
It's just never coming out.
I think it's going to be in a couple of months.
Yeah. He never pressed record.
Yeah.
Just wanted to hang out.
I know he was stressing because it was long, though.
Oh, okay.
It went a lot longer than planned.
You talked long?
Yeah.
No way.
Weird, right?
Weird.
He thought he could control me.
Why didn't he just do like a 2-parter?
Yes, part 1. That's pretty funny. The Ghetto Blaster podcast, hosted by Ricochet, and Pretty Fresh. Hosted by Muds1.
The rookie. He's the rookie. I was just recently on his show.
Yeah.
And he revealed to me.
Ooh.
Because
I don't like it when Muds reveals things.
Yeah, here's the thing, dude. We're the oldest show on the network.
Yeah.
We might be the oldest show in the state.
Yeah. Maybe the oldest people podcasting
ever. And we have a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I also run Platform Collection.
Yeah.
And my own career. I can't listen to all the shows.
Yeah.
I'm readily honest about that.
No, yeah.
So Cookbook apparently did a whole episode where he did your opening and my response, like he did like the beginning of Crappy Awesome on his show. Just to see if we would listen. Now, I'd like to, and it was really good. It was funny. I mean, it's Cook, you know?
Yeah.
And he said, let's see how long it would take for me to respond. And all I have to say about that is I hope it was a long fucking time. How dare you test me on the radio? Like I'm supposed to go listen. We'll see if he loves me.
How long ago was this?
I want love.
How long ago was this?
I don't even know. I told Muds just to tell me the number of the.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
And Muds being Muds couldn't keep the secret. He was just like, you're supposed to, okay, what he did was, and then he told me.
And he told the whole thing.
Yeah, then he told me the whole thing.
I want to check that out.
Yeah, but Muds is.
We should do his whole intro.
His show was dope, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Muds. He's putting in a lot of work, and that's not his only podcast. He has another podcast for his brand, Fresh Daily. Shout out to Fresh Daily.
Word. Where's that one?
They can catch it over at Fresh Daily on Instagram. Just go there and follow them. Word.
Okay. All right, word up. Kali is also starting Bars Weekly.
Yeah.
Streaming radio show that is over at platformcollection.com. So I wanted to make sure to mention that before we moved on from this particular section.
But it will also be on Dash Radio.
Oh, word.
Dash Radio. It will also be on Platform Collection.
Okay.
But it's on Dash Radio. Okay. And that's a big deal. You guys know we love to spread the network out. Congratulations to Kali. That's a big deal. He's got a show on Dash Radio now. Shout out to him. And it's a beautiful thing. And you can still catch all his episodes over at all the platforms he's already at. So we're making it easy for you guys to support Kali. So go out and do that. And shout out to Dash Radio for acknowledging excellence in the field of hosting radio
podcast
shows.
hosting.
Yes.
Yeah. Kali is the third hardest working man in hip hop. You wish you knew who the first two were. No. The 2Mex Hologram podcast, of course, still going long and strong and hard and amazing. Hosted by 2Mex, of course.
Yes.
The hologram, not 2Mex himself. 2Mex is back on K-Day with Water to Plants.
Yeah.
That's a really cool name.
Yeah, I like that, right?
Yeah. Feels very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Water to Plants is on at 2 a.m. Saturday night, Sunday morning. It'll be around the time that you're driving home from the. You know what? You should not be driving.
Turn up.
You should not be driving home.
You're in the Uber.
You're in the Uber.
Yeah, tell them to put it on.
No, you know what? You're in Lyft.
Yes, you're in Lyft. Fuck Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell him to put it on.
Yeah,
you won't mind.
I mean, I'm sure.
It's probably already on.
He wants to get good stars. He's going to do what you tell him to do.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got water in there too. You can water your plants. What else we got here? Shout out to our sponsors, Stay Illuminated.
Yeah.
Make sure you go over to stayilluminated.com for all your fresh gear and lifestyle needs. Stay Illuminated is killing it. They have been for quite some time.
They're the young gods.
Huh?
I like to call them the young gods.
What does that mean?
God damn it. You need to stop hanging out with hippies. Right? You're losing all your hip-hop edge.
Yeah. Feeling very mellow too. Make sure over at Stay Illuminated you can use this code actually, STAYIL17 for free shipping on any order. If you go over to stayilluminated.com right now and tell them that Crappy Awesome sent you. I mean, they're not going to do anything about that. They don't care. But as long as you use that code, you'll get that free shipping.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to mention us.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, it'll make us feel good, but it won't do anything for you.
Not that you guys ever do any of those things.
Yeah. Because, we've been asking you for reviews on iTunes, too.
Yeah.
You can do that. Also, peep our creative partners over at watertoplants.org. Hey, that name came back. We're going to talk about it some more. Water to Plants is a music incubator in L.A., and we will share more about what an incubator is later on today's episode.
They're doing cool stuff.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at Platform Collection. That is one word all spelled out. Or on Twitter at Platform Collect. With no shun.
No shun.
And unrelated to all of this, check out Burner Podcast, hosted by yours truly. That's over at burnerpodcast.com. It covers the Burning Man community and a lot of hippie shit, as Chris mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Tell them about Stitcher and iTunes and all that shit.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spreaker, go over to platformcollection.com. Make sure you connect with all the shows over there. You can catch our show all the way back to episode 0. Thank you for supporting us. Yeah. Me and Arash have been on and off the air kind of erratically, right? Because we got stuff going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Guys, thanks for bearing with that. And you guys continue to follow the show. We get new followers all the time, and that's amazing.
It's definitely, I think, makes the fact that there's a whole network and there's like a ton of other stuff to check out.
There's so much stuff.
Makes it easier.
We're not the only nice house on the block.
We used to be.
Yeah.
For a long time.
I'm okay. I want everybody to grow. I think it's really, really dope. It's giving us time for sure. Much needed time to complete projects that we've been wanting to do. And we just wanted to touch base with you guys today on our own.
Word.
It's a Sunday right now. We're in San Diego. Weather is nice thus far.
We both looked out the window.
Yeah, it could go. Yeah, it's been getting pretty hot over here.
So
shout out to San Bernardino though, because I was over there and it was 105, and that was not. It was a sticky 105 too.
Yeah. San Bernardino is it's broiling over there when it's hot.
It's broiling.
Yeah,
that's the good way to. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Gross. Anyways.
But you're back in San Diego.
Back in San Diego, man. I've literally been to LA this week 5 times.
Yeah.
5 times this week.
Lord.
For different things.
You got yourself a crash pad yet?
Yeah. More or less.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that's been happening lately, and I was eager to for full transparency, me and Arash haven't seen each other since the last time you guys heard us do a podcast.
Yeah.
So, which was probably weeks before that podcast even came out.
Yeah.
We actually haven't sat down to do a podcast in a few weeks now. Yeah. So, but man.
That was at the Stay Illuminated pad.
That was at the Stay Illuminated pad. That was literally the last time we sat down to do a podcast. So, excuse the rustiness if we're a little rusty. But, dude, since then, I swear it feels like a year of stuff has happened within that time. So I think like us organically doing less shows was it was just kind of like, I think we just felt the vibe that there was so much, because we didn't really have a discussion on it. We were just kind of like, well, if we don't, we're nearing, I think this is 300?
Yeah, that'd be good if it is.
Oh, shit. No, I don't think I saw 99. Even if this is 99, that's kind of cool, too.
I feel like we should put out an empty episode just so we can make this 300.
Just put silence for 2 hours.
Like one of those 13th floors that don't have don't exist.
We'll just play something backwards.
Yeah. The whole thing sounds like a demonic track. Yeah.
It just says do DMT backwards all the time. So Cookbook will be pissed. Yeah. But I think a lot of things happen. So you guys may have heard at the beginning of the show, there's new sponsors. Shout out to Stay Illuminated.
Bunch of new information.
They've been supporters for a long, long time. But we just finally decided, like, why are we not really partnering? And
we put a ring on it.
Yeah, we put a ring on it. Yeah. Some of you guys missed out.
They've been putting up with our shit.
Yeah.
For so long.
They earned it. But and then we got Water the Plants, and that's like a really dope. If you heard Arash reference it as an incubator, it's a music incubator. And if you guys are familiar with like tech incubators, if you're familiar with the show
Silicon Valley.
Yeah. So basically, that's a real thing. Like there's a bunch of, that's what Silicon Valley's known for. All the houses are basically incubators. Yeah. And what that is like the landlord, who's usually more of a tech person than they are like a real estate person. They come in, buy a house, and then they try to occupy that house with a bunch of people who are working on tech ventures. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times in exchange for food, living, all that stuff, maybe even a stipend sometimes, depending on what your contract's like. They'll basically fund all that stuff in exchange for a percentage of your company once it's up.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing thing. One, it works. It's proven, obviously. It's built, billions of dollar tech environment in the United States. It's booming. But it's never really been done in art. And I'm sure it's been done on the one-on-one, right? Like a manager may pay everything for somebody the old school way.
Yeah. I mean, here's the difference. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of living situations that are artists living together and creating together. That's because we want to live with other artists. Like that's normal. The difference is that the owner of the home is providing this home specifically so that they can get a percentage of it. It is a business deal.
Or providing the environment, rather. Sometimes it's in the form of a home. Sometimes it's in the form of studios. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's in the form of cash. Yeah. That's basically allowing you to continue to create with the idea that you're working on an agreed upon project, and that project will have some ownership to who's ever, provided that atmosphere for that.
That's dope.
I think it's really dope, and this is why. Because it's a very safe place for an artist to develop a project. Mm. Because the way Water the Plants works is either you like it there or you don't. Like if you start working there and you're like, maybe this isn't for me, then you just can walk away.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. The agreements and stuff aren't till like the projects come out, I would imagine, because then you guys can you and the Water the Plants, if you're an artist, you and Water the Plants would decide, like, here's the direction we're going. Everybody agree, yes. And then Water the Plants tries to use their financial and their business ties to help that grow, whatever your idea is. Yeah, I've been A&Ring for them, or I was advocating for them first, kind of, and now we're going to be doing some A&Ring through Platform Collection, and Platform Collection is going to serve as a developmental place where Water the Plants can literally pluck people out of there. So now getting on Platform Collection could end with you having a record deal.
That's dope.
So that's a really cool thing. That's something we want to offer. We want to be able to offer that to our followers and to the artists that are constantly sending us music and putting work into their art.
Yeah. It's not just a random media channel to watch stuff.
Yeah. It's not, and we're just giving. Yeah. Like it's always been the thing in Platform Collection. Myself and Arash, Eddie, like some of the people who've been there from the beginning, we've never looked at this as like this is going to be our bread and butter. Not in that we're not going to put time into it, in that we're not expecting money from it, because we know doing our job here, we can flip that into whatever it is you need to do to make money. Yeah. It's giving you experience. It's giving you, like Arash has said many times, this has been like college. So it keeps paying us, but we want to be able to pay you guys a little bit. So now when you send in music, or if your song gets selected for 2Mex Hologram Radio, I can tell you for sure, me personally, I'll be listening to it, and I'll be trying to decide whether or not I can take this to Water the Plants.
Yeah.
And maybe build some interest.
How big is Water the Plants? How many people?
Okay, so it's about 6, because they work on projects.
Right.
Right now, they're working the Lospital project. 2Mex is on Water the Plants. I can talk about it a little bit. There's definitely a conversation happening with Zay, which is really dope. Shout out to Zay. She was just over there at the studio the other day, and the vibe was a beautiful thing. And then they have like Count Bass D, like some already proven artists. But I'd say right now they're probably working 3 or 4 projects.
Right.
But they're gearing up to like open the floodgates.
Right.
They're really, really looking for that artist that is, they call it the black swan artist. They like to use that a lot over at Water the Plants. Just that rare artist that doesn't look anything like you would think,
right,
and is just pure talent.
Now, so is it a home or is it an office? What is?
They have facilities. So they have an entire recording facility where hopefully Crappy Awesome is going to be shifting over to.
Beautiful.
But yeah, they have a recording and rehearsal facility. So if you're a Water the Plants artist, you have that at your access 24/7.
Yeah.
So and they have in-house producers. They also acquire music from whatever producers may fit the project.
Right.
You know, it's very fluid. It's very, very fluid. The only thing that stays intact consistently is that there is like a group aesthetic to your project. Like you're sitting down with a bunch of experts as opposed to like just you. So if you're an that's the other thing. If you're an artist going to Water the Plants, you got to be kind of thinking outside of the box already, because it's not traditional at all. It's not traditional.
That is the question. Like, so how is this structure different than a label?
Well, one, you're not signing anything at the beginning, because they don't know. At the end of the day, they're investing in your ability to complete the project. So if you don't complete the project, that's it. You guys just walk away. There's nobody suing you to get all this money back. They knew it was an investment, and the investment just didn't go well, you know?
Yeah.
So look at it like this. Like if I'm making an investment in you, but I'm giving you cash for like Burner Podcast. I'm giving you cash. But part of me giving you that cash is I'm also going to give you a team around you to make sure this shit doesn't go off the rails.
Yeah. So it's more like an angel investment.
It very is much like an angel investment, except that they are hands-on, whereas an angel investment isn't always hands-on. You know, it's mostly just.
So how does Water the Plants protect itself from not like blowing a bunch of money on artists that come in and like smoke up all the weed and do a bunch of
none of that stuff happens. They're very very professional.
Yeah.
But
I don't appreciate the insinuation that people who smoke weed are not professional.
there's you can't put smoke around equipment. So I think that I'm going to tell you right now, that was one of the questions I had for them when we first sat down. You know, to be completely honest, I was like, what's protecting you guys? And this is why I think Platform Collection as a whole decided to move forward with partnering with them. Is because their answer was very much like ours. Like, we believe in ourselves to find the talent. We also believe in ourselves. Like, we're not saying we can do all these things because we don't believe in ourselves, you know? And that's kind of how Platform Collection is, because people could look at Platform Collection and go like, well, how are you guys going to make money from this? That's not an easy answer. It's a very complicated answer.
Yeah.
And if we lay that out for most people, like a normal business person, they're going to be like, that's not.
Yeah.
Why is that? But I believe that we can do it, and we're showing that we can do it. So the fact that they created a whole new business outlook, like I don't know anybody else doing this, so there isn't anything to compare.
They're not looking at like a very specific return on investment.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at building these relationships and putting more good artists into the field, and trusting that creating a better environment for artists and musicians as a whole is going to create a better environment for all of us as a whole to make money.
Yeah. And so
because Zay, like let's say Zay for example, like let's say she's working on her project and then like she powers through it, and you know, let's say something happens and it doesn't get finished. Yeah. That art is not lost in the ether.
No.
That art has still been created. Relationships have been created. The old label approach would have been to shelve it and hide it and say
and make life actually harder for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna make it so you can't tell anybody that you even created this thing. Whereas if it doesn't go according to like what the original intention was, it's still something that has been creative. It's still created relationships. You still have producers that have gotten better as producers because they worked on it. Zay has become better at performing because she worked on this
Her whole brand has been elevated now.
Right.
Simply by the fact that it's on display that she's being invested in.
Right.
And you know how big of a, like we can tell when that's happened for an artist around us, because you can just see everything gets a little better.
Yeah.
The pictures, the videos, everything. And that's what when they sat down with Zay, one of the things they told her was, at the very least, when you leave here, you should be a better artist all the way around. And that is exactly how we felt. That's how we feel about this, even our podcast.
Right.
Like, when you come in here, we hope that you leave here elevated as an artist, you know, because you've been able to express yourself in a way that you haven't before.
So now the question is, like, the part where they are making money off of the artist, how does that, is there a contract there?
Yeah. So, there will be. So, like, for instance, like, Zay's, you know, a great example because she's multi-talented. You know, she's a visual artist as well. She a designer, and that's all stuff she wants to get into. So, you know, right now, if you're just an indie artist, it's not that realistic. And you don't have backing. You say you're just out there on your own, you're doing it. It's not that realistic without a bit, like, a large level of experience or money to be able to take on multiple projects and have any of them come out at a level that people that would be investable.
Yeah.
Because it just takes experience to be able to do those things, you know? And especially a young artist, it's virtually impossible because, say, like, you want to fund your clothing brand. I mean, you're talking about thousands right there just to get it off the ground. And then you're still trying to make a record, you're trying to find places to record, all those things. At Water the Plants, they'll say, like, okay, you're working on this record for us, or say you've recorded your record for us, and now you want to try some other things too. Okay, we believe in your brand, obviously, because we put this record out, and we know they also understand that music isn't just music anymore, you know? So they go in it with expectations that this is going to, that you're a dynamic artist. That's why we're fucking with you. Yeah. You don't just make music. We want that. And then, so we'll fund your clothing company for 5%.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that just means, does that mean we have any creative control on it? No. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. We're just giving you the capital, which is same as like a loan, except that you don't have to pay this loan off. They're making an investment in you.
So the return on investment comes from funding different projects, from working with an artist who's developing multiple.
Yeah.
So some of them may pay off, some of them might not, but you might be working on this record, and, like, that's going to get you a ton of attention. But there isn't really as much money in selling a CD.
Right.
But there is money in, let's say,
flipping that attention into your brand.
Into your brand, yeah.
And then they're set up to do that for you.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, and where Platform Collection comes in, like I said, is, you know, we had a discussion with them about, they had put out an email to send music. And I was like, how's that going? Because, you know, we've done that. Yeah. They were talking about it's thousands, and some of this stuff is not, you know, up to par, and how do we go through that? And I felt like that's where Platform Collection comes in. Right. Because we have curators that work all the time, all day, looking for that artist.
We are the funnel.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, because one of the things that I think we add in value is how we are going to treat the artist. Whether you're ready or not, you're never going to get treated like shit here. Platform Collection is a place where you can develop. So if you, like, say you send in a song and you're like, man, I can't get on Proof of Life, you know, Kali's just not feeling this. Well, that it doesn't mean game over for you. You know what I mean? It literally, I'd say, you know what, pay attention to what's on Platform Collection. Yeah. Pay attention to, you know, what our attention is on. Because we're not saying that we cover hip-hop. We cover a section of hip-hop. Yeah. And we're very specific about that. We're not, there's no Lil Wayne posts on there. Yeah. There's no Drake posts. Like, we don't do that. You know, we're trying to introduce the world to this pocket, this gold mine to us of talent that we've found and that's connected and consistently expanding. And
it's our own little shared Marvel universe.
Yeah, yeah. And like I can look, Zay, I met Zay at the first Black Books and Rhyme Books that I don't know if it was it the first. It was the first that we performed at. And I met her there. She was amazing. She was still developing. I don't think she even had that many full songs.
Right.
But she was just on the grind, right? And I told her this the other day. I don't think anybody performs more than Zay, period. Like, period.
Yeah, she came up quick.
She came up quick because she put the hours in,
yeah.
you know? And I've worked with Zay in the studio as well, and Zay's a very, like, she went into our session with ideas and came out of that session having scrapped some of those ideas, having kept some of those ideas. And to me, I like that in artists. They're open to change things they may have believed their whole lives. If something looks better, they'll do that, or an easier way to get to whatever they're trying to create. They'll do that, and Zay's one of those artists. And
she's able to remove her hubris.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, dude, she went into like, put it this way, dude. Zay walked out of that studio with like 4 beats that they're hits. They're worldwide hits. Mm. Like, where I heard them and I was like, holy shit, that's like, if she can come up with something to craft on this beat, she's out of here. Yeah. Like, it's just it's undeniable hit, because at Water the Plants, they're willing to track down those beats for you. You know, if they're seeing that you put that work in. So, but anyways, I met her. And then we had her come and open up for like our first Fresh State tour on a bunch of spots. And she went literally from that to, she's about to perform at Paid Dues this year. Yeah. And she's very likely headed down the beginning of her like real career as a musician within like the 3 years that we've known her. Yeah. But she's but like, for artists who are sending in music, you can track Zay's growth even through Platform Collection. You can just watch it. She was on podcasts, she was on shows, she was on pros, she sent music into the radio show, she did all those things. And so for me, dude, and this is something that'll put a smile on your face, you know, we're hearing her. She let us hear a little bit of the album that she's about to, because she's dropping her own independent album right now before she starts to work on this stuff with Water the Plants.
And all the songs are about me?
No, but there's a dope ass Platform Collection shout out.
Dope.
And when I heard that, I was like, boom, there. That is the
return on investment.
The return on investment. Yeah. I was like, that's dope. You know, and we're trying to do that with a bunch of artists. Yeah. So this year, the floodgates are going to open. So go to Platform Collection, start to familiarize yourself with it, and keep up with the announcements that we're going to be putting out.
Now, what's the 2Mex connection to Water to Plants?
Okay, so 2Mex was one of their first artists as they started to revamp their original idea. They kind of had a label, and it morphed into
the incubator,
to the incubator thing, and they were very interested in Alex. They've always been friends. Mm-hmm. We've known the investors in the label for a long time.
Now, how many people run Water to Plants?
I mean, it's run by like 2 heads, okay. But they have a big team. So,
are we allowed to say their name?
I don't know yet. I'd rather have them on the show to like before we do that. Right. But you know, because they like to be behind the scenes guys. Right. You know?
And so 2Mex is connected to them, and that's how the radio show.
That's how we've always had the K-Day thing kind of on our lap. We walked away from K-Day because honestly, what they were asking for sponsorships, we were basically, Alex mostly was having to, 2Mex, he was having to raise, 2 to 3 G's almost a week.
Wow.
So, because that's, for people who don't know, like when people are like, oh, this person's got a radio show, it's because you can fill the ad space. Yeah. They don't just give it to you. Like, you have to be able to fill the ad space. If you can't, they get rid of you. But, 2Mex and I started to talk about creating the 24-hour radio station. That's his actual dream. Is that's what he really wanted to do. And now going back into the K-Day deal with Water the Plants stepping up huge by buying out the sponsorships.
Huh.
They
Wow.
bought it out. So
Yeah.
now anything that we bring into the radio show can fund projects and all that kind of stuff. So they basically took away the handcuffs. You know, so now there's this freedom on there. They can play whatever they want as long as it's clean because they own that space. And the dope thing about that is, so we had K-Day before the radio station, the 24-hour radio station. We have the radio station now. And we're using that platform now to push all the other projects. So it's like we doubled down, went back to K-Day with even more stuff to push. And now we're pushing all that energy that we get from the listeners on K-Day back into the independent hip-hop world. So we're funneling that back in, you know?
Dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real fucking dope.
Yeah.
It's dope to see like that there's a general movement. Look, in reality, like the world is pretty fucked up in quite a few places, right? But it's the yin and yang. I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I think. But there's always the light.
No, you were
yin and yang. Yeah, there's always the darkness and the light, right? And like you see that as much of darkness that exists in the world with like Wall Street taking our entire fucking country to town, debt, Trump, all this bullshit, right? All these horrible things that are happening in the world. On the flip side of that is more and more movements like Water the Plants, like Platform Collection, like Burning Man. Like it's people moving towards like, hey, let's just work together to create a better environment for all of us and trust that we're doing it for the right reasons. So for every horrible, fucked up excuse for a human being like Trump, there is another Water Plants founder.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do this to make it a better environment for everybody and help make it a better world.
Yeah, and what I like about the general feeling over at Water the Plants is they're not going to wait around for someone to dictate to them how they should be doing things.
Yeah, that's dope.
Like they're just done with that, and that's that's where I'm at. Like where I am at with my own career, and I think our general philosophy at Platform Collection is, at this point, it has already. What has happened at Platform Collection has already spawned another strong brand in Burner Podcast, and that speaks volumes of the entire attitude of all those things put together. Is that Arash and I, Eddie, everybody in Platform Collection has been told how to do this forever. We've gotten so much advice, more advice than anything, really. And it's I can look back at all the advice we've gotten, and I don't think we are people that ignore it. Like we do go home and we kind of like break it down, and there's a lot of things that we have gone like, woo, glad that they told us that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we mow it over and then just move on with what we were doing.
You know what it is? It's I think in our generation, part of what we're exploring is the thought used to exist that you have to like go get a job and then go do this XYZ and then you make this money, and then once you make the money, then you have the street cred to be able to tell people what to do and be in a position of leadership, and then yada. So basically we want experiences and we want to experience the world in reality in a certain way, and there was this whole middleman that we'd always been told we're supposed to follow. We're supposed to go through this particular career path. Like this, you can't you can't be seen as a leader in a field or in an industry if you're not the one who's throwing like millions of dollars around.
Right.
And it turns out that that's not true.
Right.
like as a photographer, I can tell you, for example, like, what I'm working on is I want to go see more of the world. I want to travel more. And I made that resolution that my lens is going to be my ticket to see the world.
Yes.
So like, I don't need to like save money for the next 5 years, and make save like a vacation fund. I'd rather just be sent on assignments to go shoot somewhere.
Yeah, that would be counterproductive.
Yeah. But like that's the experience that I want to go have, and that's a lot of what's happening right now with like Burning Man. And like we are leaders in this industry with Burner Podcast. We're building a team of leaders in another world. Like all these experiences exist, and we don't have to go through this whole middle section that we've been told our whole lives we're supposed to go through.
Yeah.
We can pave a new path.
Yeah. How's it? Does it make your family nervous, or have they kind of? Because you've been at this for a minute.
Yeah, that's
But
interesting.
I know this. I know you've told me you share less.
Yeah,
and that might help
they don't
the
get
situation.
Here's what they see.
You're over them getting it, though,
right? Yeah. Now here's what they see. And like you're a lot closer to like your mom and like your uncle about this kind of stuff than I am.
Yeah.
What they see is that I'm in great physical health.
Yeah.
I keep getting better. I'm happy. I'm respected.
You're not in jail.
Yeah. They just see that I
That's
have
the big
like
one.
Yeah. they see
you're not coming to them for money all the time.
Yeah, not all the time.
Yeah.
No, what they see is social media helps with some extent. Like they just see the energy that exists around me. Like my mom sees
they get to see people clap for you.
Right.
And that's kind of really what they like.
Yeah.
They don't even know what they're clapping.
They don't understand it.
My mom shared yesterday. I just put out because I know some stuff coming with Rick Scales, and I was like, "This is Rick Scales' year, mark my words." Yeah. And my mom shared that to her friends.
Yeah, I saw that. That's actually how I saw the post.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you know what did you share?" She's like, "Well, because you wrote something." I was like, "I know. Did you read it though?"
Yeah. No, it's what they see is the energy that I navigate reality in, and they're like, "Well, something must be going correctly."
Right.
Something.
It doesn't seem to be going off the rails.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's tough too. Like, I mean, we've talked about plenty on the show, like my strained relationship with my dad, and I had an interesting, experience the other day. Long story short, my family is looking to like do some investing, and I was supposed to be a part of this process. And part of that process was going to be I have to like do some cleanup work on my credit in order to sign some papers.
Yeah.
And part of really the only thing that's holding my credit back is student loans.
Oh, okay, yeah. For sure.
Being able to pay, like, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to be able to pay off that student debt. Or like not. Until like something blows the fuck up.
Okay, let me ask you this: are you like when you look at your student debt right now?
Yeah.
Is there any guilt attached to it?
No, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you're literally I don't give a fuck.
Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
No,
how did they think that system was gonna stay up?
No, most people give a fuck.
Yeah, you think?
Oh yeah.
I feel this is the only reason I asked you is because I have heard lately, even generations like younger than us. That are dealing with student debt already, and they're already like, man, I'm not paying that shit.
Yeah.
Like, because their big brother told them, like,
right.
yo, I'm still paying it, and they're like, and they look at their big brother. Big brother's doing fine. Yeah. Like he just said, fuck that debt.
Yeah. Well, let's get to that in just a second. But like the short thing though with my dad though is that he was going to help with those payments in order to fix this other thing so that we can get into this investment. Long story short, he just we don't get along, and he decides that he's going to pull this power move and be like, "No, we're not doing that." Like trying to take a jab at me, not understanding that.
Right. Like so as your investment partner, he pulled out.
Yeah. Well, thinking that
you would then
be like,
have to do things personally.
Right. No. Well, thinking that this is going to jab at me personally. Not realizing I don't actually give a fuck about that thing. I was going through this process as a part of what we were doing for the business.
Yeah.
But this is not like a move against me.
Yeah.
But
because in your mind it's not his problem anyways.
Right.
Like the actual thing that he was going to pay for.
Yeah.
Was your debt anyways.
Yeah. Well, he was seeing it as he was doing me a favor, and I'm like, it's not. I don't care.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the experience though that they came out of that. Of course, like the conversation continued forward, and I was talking to my brother. I'm like, all right, well, we'll just shift gears. We'll do this other thing. This dynamic exists now as a direct result of everything that we've built here. We've built with Platform Collection, built with Burner Podcast, built with other ventures that I've taken. I have a place in this world. He doesn't have that power over it. And that's something that his generation doesn't understand. They're like, wait, what do you mean you don't want this money? And like, that's the dance that we keep having.
Yeah.
And I very clearly stood and I looked at it. I'm like, this absolutely does not bother me. Does not bother me that this thing happened. You're pulling this weird chess move because you think that it's something that I want for me.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that he understands the world.
Yeah.
And our generation sees the world very differently. I'm like, okay, shrug. Moving on. We'll do the next thing. Right now, I'm just looking at whatever steps we need to take to make this next thing happen. And if this tool is no longer at our disposal, we'll use another tool.
Yeah.
But
I mean, do you think do you feel like that's generational, or do you feel like that's like the school of parenting that he came from?
It's a little of both.
Yeah. I find like my mom is not void of any of that. Like she's down to tell me what to do every day if she could. Yeah. It's just that I don't do any of the things she tells me to do. So I've just kind of worn her out of it, but it's still live and in effect. And I feel like, she's probably done stuff along those lines. But I definitely get and I know they're different relationships, but I definitely get the vibe that parents kind of define themselves as such.
Right.
In that becomes their entire character. And so when they're not parenting anymore, it's like,
power over you,
dude, they've been in the war.
Yeah.
Like I got this thing to at least be able to walk on its own and it doesn't kill anybody. It's been a long, hard battle.
Yeah.
But we don't need you anymore, Sergeant. And then they're like, what? Well, what the fuck? I need to. So I definitely look at my mom when she does stuff like that, a little empathetic. My mom, this is the thing. I think my mom's older than your parents, and she's.
You think your mom's older?
Maybe not older than your dad. Maybe younger than your dad, older than your mom. She's definitely older than your mom.
Right.
So she's getting to that age where I'm sure your dad is too, that they're not necessarily, and in fact, they're for sure not. It's not funny actually at all. It's kind of, it gets tough, but they're not thinking 100% anymore, like with all their faculties.
Right.
Things are super fast for them. Everything's a little scarier. Parts of their body hurt.
And that's tough, man. Like that's part of what I thought about is like, here's this man, like he's kind of holding on to like the last bit of power he has left.
Yes.
In the world.
Yes. And it's you don't, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's, they are, you cannot like, I think you're harming your parents if you're like, but they're old. I don't ever do that.
Yeah.
I just acknowledge the fact that I do know that that's happening. My ability to explain to my mom logical concepts only exists as long as her brain does.
Right.
So I try to, what I've come to is like, how do I want to fill this time? Because, she's fucking, I'm a goalie and she's just fucking shooting shots at me all day. Like, clink, clink, clink. But I'm a fucking good goalie.
Yeah.
And she's not as good of a hockey player, so I can take it, because in between those things, if I allow things to if I allow her to still feel every once in a while like, hey, I contributed, because that's what she's trying to do. Yeah. She's trying to contribute to your life. Your dad's trying to contribute to yours. He doesn't know how to deal with his emotions.
Yeah.
Because nobody taught him how to do that. There's no,
He didn't have like the men's circles that I was able to attend.
Yeah,
and therapy dude. And internet and
I don't know where you're at with it. I know for me, I'm still lost in the when is it not the parents' fault? Like, it's such a hard thing. But I'm the kid right now. I don't have a kid, and I kind of feel there's probably some enlightenment that happens in that in that area of study.
Yeah.
That happens when you have a kid.
Yeah.
But because I don't have a kid, all I can judge it on is how I would judge you.
Right.
Like if you turn into a drug like crazed person tomorrow and you end up in the gutter, I will know that you did some stupid fucking shit and you knew better because I already know you.
Yeah.
And we're brothers. With my mom, I know that there's other things affecting that. You know what I mean? Like there's other things like affecting her making a decision. So if she does something incorrect, sometimes it is that she just completely blanked out on the day. And she's like, what? This is not, dude, I've hung out with her and she'll be like 4 days off, you know, and be like, oh man, I just, and she's not worried about it. She kind of knows that it's happening too. She seems to be at ease with, or at least I'm trying to get her more at ease with that. It just happens. You know?
See, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That she's like made peace. Because the thing is, what I also see is the opposite version of that.
Yeah.
I always think about, I don't know if I've told this story before. Like there was a time I was standing in line at like Rite Aid waiting to pick up my prescription. And this elderly gentleman was standing there and they're asking him for his phone number so that they can look up his information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he starts yelling at them. He's like, how am I supposed to know my own phone number? I don't call myself. And I'm looking at this situation. I'm like, I don't understand what part of your thought process thinks that it's okay to be angry. And I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and they were like, yeah, you know, the brain is wearing down, and anger is a response to fear.
Sure.
Like, that's the way it's manifesting itself. But,
yeah, because it's either that or him just blubbering tears. Like, I'm so scared right now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What do you,
Right.
you know?
And like,
because those are the only two choices.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I keep wondering, like the avatars that you and I are building, the people that we are.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that as that situation arrives,
you can combat it somehow.
Yeah, I would laugh at it a little bit. Like, oh, well, you know, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting old. I'm forgetting phone numbers.
Yeah.
Like, rather than responding with anger and trying to bully this poor employee that's trying to help you. So I wonder, is that something that took years of character development that turned into that moment where he's yelling at this employee? Or is that just what happens with the brain? You just turn into a dick?
No. Okay. So, like your dad, you know, the stories I've heard from you about your dad. So I would say that it's probably like classic PTSD from an early age, right? That showed him how to deal with fear in like the toughest way possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't ever let it scab over. Like, keep picking at it, and you know what I mean? Like, you're in it. Fuck them for making you feel that way. And then he grows up, and unless something, like, you know this, because you have been this for people.
Yeah.
Unless something interjects in a big way, that boat is sailed. Nothing is going to stop it. It's on its way. So either somebody smashes him in the face and he decides one day, fuck, I need to not be a dick to anybody.
Yeah.
Or somebody who really, really loves him puts the time into breakthrough, and Lord knows that could be a lifetime, you know, for what people invest in. So, and again, that's nobody's job. I don't feel that part. I've heard kids go like, you know, once, you know, I've literally told my mom, I said, look, if you turn into an old crazy bat that's just cussing at me all the time, I'm not coming to see. Like, you think I will still come? Yeah, I will not. Yeah, I'll call you on fucking Skype or some shit. Yeah. And I'm like, and especially if you can't even remember. Yeah. You know, I'm not, because that, why add even more like, just, you're already in your last years, you know? I'm trying to silence it as much as possible. But yeah, I think with your dad, it's probably, it seems to me he couldn't have not had PTSD. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just from growing up where he did, the unrealistic pressure of manlyhood that comes from, unfortunately, a lot of countries, you know, in the Middle East. Yeah. I know too, because it comes from Mexico as well. There's this unrealistic idea of what a man should be, you know, like you should be able to take a hammer to the face and not cry, you know. And like this is where it gets harder and harder with compassion. Like, you want to be compassionate,
But at the same time, I'm finding that the further I go on this path, I don't know, the harder I get. I don't know if that's the word.
I think you need to be careful, man.
Yeah.
I think you need to be careful with that because I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I've definitely been there. But I feel that ultimately, okay, like if you become harder, right? But you still have the ability to acknowledge people's pain, right? You can look at your dad and know there's pain happening. You can't ignore it as much as you try. You know there's some pain. Whether you feel it's justified or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you get to a point where you don't see that anymore, how effective will you be as a person to help anybody but yourself?
Right.
You know, you close the door for the ability to have real connections when you close that door on anybody.
Yeah.
On anybody at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that it's important to that it's lifting weights. Empathy is lifting weights because it hurts, but it pays off, and you should be doing it. And you know, or at least push-ups. At least it's push-ups.
So, like with your mom, like if she did become crazy old lady cursing at you, what's the push-ups there?
Is to not lose connection. Like I'd probably want to because it's not that I'd be mad. I'd be sad, man. Like every time I saw her, I'd be like, damn, that's not, my mom's stuck in that thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that's what it is.
Yeah. The avatar is like losing fuel. The gauges aren't working correctly anymore.
Yeah.
Her consciousness is just stuck in there right now.
And I'd be sad. I would not be scared. And I think those like fear and sadness combined is a very powerful thing, and I can see how that can take over people's lives. But I wouldn't be scared because I know what's happening.
Right.
You know, like I'd have to like suspend reality for me to ignore the fact that this is just what happens. But I would be sad, like, man, that sucks. Like, you know, because mostly I'd be sad because she doesn't know that she's just trapped in there.
Yeah.
She thinks something's happening to her.
Yeah.
You know, like that's my mom comes from, you know, an upbringing where, you know, there's just so much emphasis put on faith that now everything is determined by whether or not you deserved it or not, or if it was good or not. So that's everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, like I said, like you can imagine the type of person that could create.
Yeah.
But I found through empathy a way to, I'm really good at the fucking, rope-a-dope. You know what I mean? I can just roll with the punches. Like I'm good. And I've noticed that the more you take away the effect in any way that they're hoping for, which is usually controlling of you,
right?
Or if not controlling of you, you feeling bad about not being controlled, because that's what they really want. They really want you to have the guilt.
They want you to have. They want relevance. They want to see a reaction to come out of you.
Yeah,
it's like I had an 8th grade teacher. You know, I remember like this one day, Mr. Appenzeller was an amazing teacher. We had an 8th grade. He spent a day talking to us about parenting. He's like, and we're 8th graders. He's like, I'm just going to have this. I'm just going to take today's class to talk about some life lessons that I want to share with you. He was a U.S. history teacher. He's like, this is not going to be U.S. history or anything. Like today, I'm just going to give you some advice.
What happened to that guy?
He's awesome. I don't know.
They probably killed him.
Forever. The school killed him.
They can't let teachers have like that.
No, he had,
like real teachers.
But like one thing that he talked about that like always stuck with me. He's like, you know, someday you're going to have a kid and like, you know, like your kid wants your attention, just like a lot of people, like they're trying to get some sort of reaction out of you. So like your kid is like dunking his head in the toilet. He wants you to like either yell at him or say that's awesome, like something.
Yeah.
If you want him to not do that, just pretend like you didn't even see it. He'll stop doing it.
Eddie's currently going through that right now with his young son. You know, he's recently picked up those skills and he's applying them, and he's like, dude, it's like magic.
Just walks away pretending like he didn't see it and just won't stop.
Dude, and like one of the things is like Frankie, Eddie's son, runs around a lot, and so because he's a little human and barely learning how to walk.
Yeah.
He falls a lot.
Yeah.
But he's not hurt. But every time he used to fall, he would want attention because it feels good.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't. And we'll watch him out of the corner of our eyes, and he looks over at his dad like, oh, he's not even looking. All right, well, I'll just get up.
Yeah.
And it's teaching him independence, and it's teaching him to, like, those aren't, I think that's a very important lesson early on, which, again, our parents probably didn't get.
Yeah.
Because even the way I was raised, I think my mom wasn't really into the ignoring until, like, it was way late, you know? But I got everything I wanted pretty much, I think, you know?
But it is a thing with them now, though. You know, they want not to be ignored. They're trying to push something.
Right. Because, again, look, like, if you came out of the military, like, if you joined the military right now, this is what it would be like.
Yeah.
You joined the Marines right now, and you fucking just went out there, and you're a decorated soldier.
Me?
Yes, you. Right? Something just happened,
and
you're like, fuck it. I'm going off the deep end. I'm joining the Marines. And you're gone for, like, 3 tours. Right? So it's like, what, 8, 9, 10? It's 12 years later. All right? You come back 12 years later, and you can't join the Army anymore. We don't need you, by the way. You're not that good anymore.
Yeah.
They're literally, like, telling you you're not that good anymore at what you used to do. Now start your life.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you look at it that way, you can't be mad at them. You can't, man. Like, it is what's going to happen to you. You're going to be one day, regardless of what the world feeds us, you're going to most likely not be able to do all the things you used to be able to do.
Will I be a dick?
Maybe. You might be pissed about it. Okay, like, what if... Do you think you could not be pissed if you lost the use of your hands?
I mean, obviously, I can only answer from where I'm sitting right now.
Right, like, yeah, right. Like, you went out right now, a car hits you, runs over your hands are fucked.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, it would suck.
Yeah. You could see yourself having to almost go through a boot camp of get out of this depression. You're going to have to do that.
Yeah. And I'd be very aware of it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, like...
And you'd only be aware of it because you're well-trained already.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. Mm-hmm. I'm well-trained in that, like, my immediate thought process is going to go towards this is what's supposed to happen right now. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at spiritually.
Would you cry, though, at night?
Probably.
Yeah, and you'd be mad, right?
Yeah.
So if you're... Now times that by, like, 1,000, because now your whole body doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And so even, like, so you're like, go meditate. Dude, I can't bend down to touch my toes. And, like, I don't, you know, if I sit too long, that super hurts. Like, you know, there's all these different things. And yes, they are very human excuses. So in our lives, those things, we don't like those things. We try to blow through those things, right? It's almost a hobby.
Right.
But it's not for them. You know, it's not for most people. And again, where I'm at with it is I'm trying to find, like, the highest levels of spirituality without losing my humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that's because I think that if I'm going to get that level of spirituality, I want to help humanity.
Yeah.
So I need to know how these people, I need to know how anybody feels. You know, whether it's elderly or people that are, you know, speaking with ignorance, you know, I need to know how they feel.
Right.
In order for me to be able to serve that.
You know, I there's a friend of mine, and I won't say his name, but he's a huge...
Is it President Obama?
It is President Obama.
You know, I always guess.
You always guess. Yep. He's a huge internet figure. He's a big name on YouTube. And anyway, he has, like, an agreement with his parents about, like, where he lives. And he doesn't really make a lot of money. But he's, like, famous and has touched thousands of people around the world. But his parents are much more financially well off, and so the trade-off was that he gets to stay in their condo, and then like not go to jail, like just not live a normal life and do that. Like that's the trade-off. But then like when they come back to visit, he has to like leave the condo. Like,
okay, wait, explain that again. So
it's their condo.
It's their condo.
Yeah,
they live there.
Yes.
Oh, so when they travel?
No. When it's like their summer
extra
home.
condo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So as long as they're not using it, basically, he can stay there.
Right.
And the trade is what?
That he just vacates when they come back to visit.
That's fucking tight.
Yeah, but then I guess like they started to push him to like say like, no, this isn't going to work out anymore. Like you should get your own place. And they sat down and had a talk about it because he's like, I really like it here. I mean, I could go find another spot, but like,
why are you doing this to me?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why is this exchange even happening? And what it came down to is that they felt that they were enabling him not to pursue a life of business and money.
Yeah, because they feel like they have power.
Right.
Yeah.
So they had this conversation, and he basically showed them like how many people he's touched, what a figure he is, like what he's accomplished, the amount of people that look to him for.
How did he do that?
I mean, there's tons of evidence of it.
Like, is that what he mostly just jumped on the internet?
Yeah, you could just Google the guy.
Yeah.
And
they got it. Like they saw it, and
they took some time off.
Yeah.
And then actually, I was at his place,
Uh-huh.
and he receives a text from his dad.
Uh-huh.
And the text is only this. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
It's a quote from John Adams.
Okay.
I must study politics and war, that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, tapestry, and porcelain.
Yeah. So he got it.
That's all he sent.
That's really nice, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's super dope. And like it's there's like this thing where like
and then they called the cops on him. They're like, we have a squatter.
Yeah. They're doing great. But like it's interesting.
Well, they got it though.
Yeah, they got it. They're like, what did we bust our asses for? Did we bust our asses our entire life so that our son also has to go bust his ass?
Okay, so
because they have money, they're fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's more in the arts.
Okay, so
do we need to keep making more money? Now, here's the thing. Let me tell you where I differ on it personally.
Okay.
I want to still build my own power base, and having a strong economic power base for myself is, to me, a mark of strong leadership. Being able to navigate this thing that we call reality and building all of your power bases is a part of what can create a stronger base for future generations. For me, it's a different reason. For him, it's fine. Like he wants to live. He wants to continue doing what he does.
Your friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So like the money situation with my dad.
So are you
example,
saying like he's just chilling?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You don't want to chill.
No.
Yeah. You don't have any chill.
Yeah. I have no chill. Yeah. For me, that doesn't work. But it's not to say that it's like wrong or right. It's simply different paths.
Well, I mean, obviously it was right because his dad is all it needed to be right with apparently was his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad was cool with it.
Yeah.
So I think everybody has someone like that in their life.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like, I mean, that's why you're talking about your parents, because they are those people to you.
Mm-hmm.
That if only they were cool with what you were doing, you'd be fine.
Oh my God, how fucking cool would it be? I have a feeling my dad's not going to be around to actually see the big pop,
the payoff.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I can tell you this, like we obviously we're doing this thing. We know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got to do ayahuasca recently.
What?
You didn't know that?
We're not talking about why are we not talking about that? We could have been fucking driving cookbook nuts for an hour.
I can tell you, like, one of the things of clarity that came out of that, though, was the word trajectory. I kept seeing, like, this is my trajectory. Mm-hmm. This is we've built this thing. This is where we're going. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to going back to it. Because for a while, you're, like, in between realities. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's the word. I mean, it's hard to explain that to your parents. Like, this is the trajectory. Like, all the all the shit that I've dealt with my parents, there's also been a lot of like amazing good that's come out of it. Like my dad taught me my work ethic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He, the thing is, like, my dad.
Did he force it on you?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, now I have it.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Using it.
I mean, you downloaded it no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, he shoved it in your USB drive.
Yeah.
Over and over.
But yeah, it's like Tony Robbins talks about that in like one of these random videos I ran into where he's saying like, well, if you blame your parents for, you know, all this stuff, then you better blame them for everything.
Yeah.
Blame them for making you the strong person that you are. Blame them for, you know, he's saying that about himself because I think his dad was violent.
Oh, I think so too.
His mom had all kinds of issues.
Yeah, he had a rough life.
Real rough upbringing.
Yeah.
But he talks about, he's like, yeah, you better blame them for everything.
Yeah.
All of it at the exact same time. And it's tough. It's tough to do, but those things are existing completely side by side.
How do you, do you feel, because I mean, I feel like you're definitely at a place in life where you can call yourself on shit. Do you feel like you're just dragging your feet on like really dealing with the parent situation?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, because I find it super like hard to believe that this wouldn't work with anybody's parent, right? Like, and this is if you simply change your perspective on how this plays out or how it would make you feel, because I imagine there's probably some like deep-seated issues when it comes to even like the physicality of this. But I think like if say you're at your dad's house, and your dad comes in and he's bitching about what, it doesn't matter because anything he's saying doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. You're not at an age that he can teach you anything anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what he's dealing with. Because even the things that he had a lot of skill in are becoming irrelevant. So it doesn't matter, right? So it's kind of funny, like he's just kind of throwing out these weird, crazy ideas on what to do and what you should do with your life. Imagine if, right? In fact, do this exercise with me. Just imagine yourself playing the role of a son doing this. All right, this is the movie. He comes in, he's bitching at you. Whatever, you're at his house. You literally just went there just to see how he was, like you always do. You're not looking for a fucking fight, but you know it's coming. The anxiety's there. You've been there 1,000 times, but for some reason today you just find it hysterical, and you just get up and he's like still talking to you as you're coming closer and closer to him, and like now he's starting to be like, what are you doing? And you just grab him and you just hug him, and you just kiss him on the cheek and go like, Dad, let's just go eat. Come on. Yeah. I can't imagine that if you handled it that way every time that you wouldn't just love beat him that shit out of him. And if not, it will be the funnest project ever because by the time, I'll tell you my opinion on it is it's undefeatable. I think it's undefeatable. I don't think you can defeat that much love like that. You just can't. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. Eventually you do it enough, you're going to want to feel that feeling more than the normal feeling you have. Yeah. And you're going to, because it's going to call out the normal feeling you have in a big way. Like you're going to know that you're a dick. Yeah. Because this is so not being a dick. This is so like, fuck, he doesn't get that kind of love, you know? And I think you can defeat it like that. And I think you could do that with anybody. And it would be hard for me to think that you, like on a personal level, that you, Arash, the Arash that I know, could be defeated by this old dude who doesn't really have any good ideas anymore and really just needs hugs. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying, so to end that exercise, do you have to acknowledge that you're stopping yourself from doing that? Or can you look at that situation and go like, nah, that's not true. That wouldn't happen.
What wouldn't happen?
Like everything I said, that there's no truth to it. Because you're going to have to do one or the other. Yeah. You're going to have to go like everything you just said, there's no truth in that. Or, I'm not comfortable yet enough to do something like that. But I know that would work.
Yeah.
Sit with it. You don't have to answer it on this one. Okay, so
water the plants.
yeah, no. So there's something that I want to do, and I want to start doing this every show.
Okay.
This is we're going to go to the Platform Collection Twitter. By the way, it's at Platform Collect. No shun.
No shun.
And I want to see what's trending.
Okay.
And I want us to, let's play some catch.
All right, let's take a look.
Okay, we got Rare Santiago. Okay, we're off to a great start already. Rare Santiago snowfall leaves 280,000 without power.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. It's in Chile.
I thought we were looking at Platform Collection.
No, but we're looking at what's trending worldwide.
Oh, okay.
Because we're bigger than that, you know?
Right. Yeah, let's see what's happening.
So first snowfall in Chile's capital for around a decade has created spectacular views across the city. However, one person died from a heart attack
from the
while
snow?
clearing snow.
Oh.
I don't think you could blame that on the snow.
Yeah.
Shout out to that person, though.
For dying?
I hope they had a good life.
I guess it was an epic way to go out.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. You're trending worldwide, by the way.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at.
People know of you.
Chile in Chile as a rare snowfall blankets. It seems like there's just videos of people having fun. It does look really cool, though. Did you see the photos?
Oh, yeah. That's beautiful.
It's snowing in a place that never snowed. So global warming is happening, bro.
Yeah.
What do are we fucked? Are we fucked?
Probably.
You heard that big piece of the iceberg that they've been watching broke off?
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't get a tsunami, though, I thought.
I was talking to somebody about this yesterday.
Yes.
No, the thing is, I think that in the coming decades, we're going to discover entire new systems of information that we have no frame of reference for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So are we fucked? If we're looking at currently what we know of the world in science, yes.
Yeah.
But I think
what's really happening is it's just a new thing.
I think we're going to discover new ways of combating this.
Have you heard the information? This is not. We're going to get right back to this. Oh, because Doctor Who's on here. Tom DeLonge.
Mm-mm.
Do you know who he is?
No.
You're familiar with Blink-182?
Yes.
He's the lead singer for Blink-182.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he's now like the lead singer for Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah.
They big hits, Grammy-nominated producer, singer, writer.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, and I know when I heard about this, I remember hearing some of the lyrics. I was really into Blink. They're from San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he still lives here in San Diego. But there was always references to UFOs and stuff.
Yeah,
blah,
they're very
blah,
big on. He did a whole side project called, was it Boxcar Racer?
Yeah.
It was all about end of the world stuff.
Yes. So he's a UFO researcher.
Mm-hmm.
And has been for 20 years. Takes it super serious. I guess as serious as you can take that. But they're okay. So I think it was like 2014. Don't quote me. We don't fact check.
Get on that, Eddie.
But there's a video on YouTube. You can search this. This is there. He basically comes out, and the long and short of it is he says a lot of the information he gets when reporting about UFO stuff is because he has a friend, a high-ranking official friend that he grew up with, and they're friends. And that guy, he asked that guy basically, could you help me, start to put together some material covering actual UFO accounts that he believed were real, because he felt that being Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, he could sell the story to not sell. I don't want to say sell. He could tell the story to his followers in a way, because he was like, you have to understand. He understands like music listening generations and how they consume media. They've been doing this forever, right?
Right.
So he says like, I can give the information to them, and trust me, these generations that are running the world right now, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're just tired of being lied to.
Yeah.
Like, so, and he's like, the whole reason that even came up is because he had heard that there's people, high-ranking officials in the political system that want to say something. But here's something that, for people who don't know, like, anything that would be a confirmed UFO would be top secret.
Yeah.
Anybody that works for the government that reveals top secret information, it's life in prison. That's what you get.
Yeah.
So in case anybody doesn't know that, like, when they're like, how come they don't just come out?
Yeah.
It's life in prison. It doesn't matter. Even if you break the story and it's out to everybody, you still have to do the time.
Yeah.
It's life in prison. It's, you blew a top secret thing. So this guy, his friend, who I think is a CIA agent, high-ranking CIA agent, hooks him up with, allegedly, this is him telling the story a few years back, allegedly like 4 or 5, like a team that's going to advise him and help him get this information out, right? You're already smiling, right? Okay.
It sounds pretty nutty.
Okay, so exactly. So
sounds very beautiful mind.
Within the UFO world, right? Obviously, there's people who are like, "Yay, he's championing for us," and then there's other ones that are like, "Fuck this guy, he's a shill." You know, he's fucking works for the CIA, whatever, blah, blah, blah. By the way, one of the theories behind the reporter who broke, I believe it was the Roswell. Yeah, it was Roswell. That they basically fed him a bunch of information too, that he wrote a book, the Roswell, the main, like the definitive Roswell book. Yeah. And it had a bunch of wrong information that he truthfully put in there because he was fed it. And it didn't come out till years later that they were giving him some bad information. But a lot of UFO people are basically saying that's what they're doing to Tom DeLonge. They're just going to use him to put out a bunch of weak information. That's the UFO world, right? Flash cut, 2017, presidential elections happening. WikiLeaks drops tons of material from Podesta, who is at the time Clinton's chief advisor, and is now probably the most powerful Democrat in the world. In those emails, which, by the way, the world was focusing on Clinton basically complaining that nobody's following her, like being a baby. And the other emails that they failed to mention is that there's an email from Tom DeLonge to fucking Podesta, and Podesta heading that team that he was referencing and assigning active, high-ranking political officials right now. So all that was confirmed. Obviously, they're not saying UFO stuff in the emails. Yeah. But all the emails that are out are Podesta setting up the meetings, consistently setting them up, asking about the information, talking about the timing of the revealing of the information. When can we do this?
Through Blink-182.
Through Tom DeLonge, who also runs a UFO site too, and now he has like a store. So, this dude, yeah. By the way, I know everybody's rushing to Google right now. Yeah. Do it. It'll blow your fucking mind that this is happening.
It's because it kind of reminds you of that guy that started Disclosure Project.
Yeah. So
I'm like, why the fuck you?
He's a topic of this conversation, right? Yeah. And within this conversation that Tom DeLonge has online, because he starts to document it, which I guess that part is not crazy, right? I guess if you believe all these things, you're going to try to protect yourself as much as possible. He felt Tom DeLonge, and obviously there's an ego attached to this. He's fucking Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. You don't even want to be that unless you have an ego. Yeah. But he felt like, he said he looked at his life. He happens to have a bunch of friends he grew up with who are now in high-ranking places. By the way, Arash, so do we. Yeah. Okay, so I looked at it that way. Like, okay, if this was happening to us, like, could you call in favors eventually? Or some of our friends got to the highest of levels. And so he looked at his life. He saw that. Also, he has a lot of money, has, knowledge of security. He's had security his whole life, blah, blah, blah. he could protect himself. He thought.
Yeah.
That he's like, that's why I decided to do it. He's like, because if I'm not going to, if someone like me is not going to do it, no, somebody that's just at home who knows some information can't do it. That sounds kind of cool. I was like, that's cool if that's what he's thinking. But and from the beginning, he was like, the way I'm going to roll out the information is I'm going to roll it out, and this is obviously where people would have an issue with it. I don't think we would, though, because coming from the entertainment world, he wants to roll it out in movies and TV shows and books. And he's telling everybody from the beginning. Like, there's a video of him talking to people on Twitter, like, look, I feel like we're at a place where we can do this now. You're not dumb. I'm going to roll out the information. I'm only changing names.
Okay.
Everything else is real. Like, I'm asking you to please read between the lines.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay it out for you right in front of your face. And what's going to come out is the truth. And when you see it, you're going to know why, no, we can't just roll this out. It would cause too much chaos.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I'm betting on like the Twitter generation to be able to. I think they're ready.
Yeah.
The generation before, no, they're not ready. The people that are in politics right now, they're not ready.
Yeah.
Like, they'll lose their goddamn minds. Somebody, and so he starts tying. There's a bunch of videos, by the way, with him. But anyways, that's the gist of it. You guys can go look it up.
So has he rolled anything out?
So within the next 60 days, he just announced in the next 60 days, he's going to roll something out. And he's like, it got back. Oh, because of the WikiLeaks thing, obviously that exposed everything.
Yeah.
He was never going to expose the people that he was working with,
right.
which is why people always call bullshit, because oh, well, then who are they? Well, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Well, WikiLeaks just happened to confirm everything he was saying. But there are still people that are like, nah, Podesta, all those people can't be trusted. They're just telling them bullshit. But now I think WikiLeaks put a twist in it, because if they are lying, now that's documented as well. Like, then why are you stringing this dude along? Like, you're fucking Clinton's chief advisor. You have time to play this game with this guy and feed him.
Leave Tom DeLonge alone.
Yeah. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like, right? Like, it feels like some bully shit.
Yeah.
But
like, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Set up meetings.
So basically, like, obviously that's not what's happening.
So wait,
like,
hold on. Next 60 days, what's coming out?
I mean, I don't know. They said he's rolling it out. I tried to like look up anything like where he was giving actual stuff. There is a bunch of stuff. Like, he talks about Area 51, how it's always been what everybody thought it was. It's just way more complicated than that. And that there was a craft there. Roswell was real. That really did happen. And the big one is like Antarctica. By the way, so did you know you can't just go to Antarctica? Like, you, Arash, can't just go to Antarctica.
You can't get like a passport and go to Antarctica?
No, you have to get permission from the government to go to Antarctica.
Huh.
So
from which government?
I'm assuming us. You know,
when in doubt.
Yeah, when in doubt. But
mine.
So have you heard about the stuff from Antarctica?
Is Antarctica? Hold on. Isn't that where haven't a bunch of different countries tried to lay claim to it? Like, they sent pregnant women there to try to like.
Yeah, a bunch of crazy shit has happened. Yeah. But now I think it's more or less under the control of the UN, and it's not like an open territory. So, there's been tons of UFO stories about Antarctica. One of the biggest ones, and the one that has stuck the most, has been that there was an air battle in the 60s. And there was U.S. casualties. And the thing that we took a ship down there, a very large ship, with a nuke. And the story was like, that's how we found out that nukes were effective. Okay. So flash cut to now, right? To these times. This is what I started. So now I'm going down the rabbit hole. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So if all the governments of the world, more or less, I mean, Putin has said it. Putin, look that up, by the way. Putin has said it just at a normal press conference. He says America has been in coercion with aliens for forever. They have alien technology. The Venezuela, what was the dude Venezuela, the crazy dude in Venezuela? Chavez said it. Fucking Iran has said it. Iran put out all theirs. Did you know that?
Yeah.
They released all their UFO stuff.
Isn't like this stuff gets released and it turns out it's not that big a deal? Like they just saw some shit.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. You know, I'm just telling you. I'm with you, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you this shit is happening.
Right.
And that's the crazier part of it. Like, we ripped a fucking hole in the time continuum or something because crazy shit is starting to happen. I told Eddie, okay, so this is, I'm going to bring it all the way back around to what we were talking at the beginning. Prayer, the power of thought. Right? Okay, so this is what I believe has happened, or what we're currently experiencing. I think we got to a point before pre-internet where we were looking for the answer to what it, like, a lot of people still are, by the way, but looking to the answer of what are we, right? Yeah. For me, the creation of the internet confirmed at least the part of us that is connected to the whole. Right. Because the internet, like I said, like we were talking at the beginning, I could put just a very kind note to you on the internet, and
which you don't do enough.
Which I don't do enough, by the way. I'm working on it. And I could, the feelings I'm doing, I could be crying while I'm doing it, right? And then 6 days later, you could read that. And then you could cry, right? And so it's almost like a superpower. Like I harnessed this superpower to take my energy to you. Because it's my energy. You're reading it, it's my energy. I created that thing. And the internet's keeping it alive, right? So thus, election of Obama, election of Trump, all share within this, methodology of sharing your energy. That's why Trump got elected. There was enough people that put that energy. Yeah. And it wasn't like, and a lot of people said stuff during that time, like, man, you could feel it. You could feel it in the air. I believe you can. I believe you're really feeling something. So I think the internet has, again, like turned your amplifier up, right? If you use the internet correctly. Yeah. And now we're seeing the use of the internet becoming a skill. There's people, everyone knows how to get on the internet, and then there's people who know how to use the internet. And those people are becoming like superpower. Like they have superpowers. Yeah. Hacking is superpowers. Writing code, that's superpowers. Yeah. You can get through walls, these virtual walls, this virtual security. So you're extending your energy. You have now... We're one with the machine. It has already happened. Right. Like it's not going to be this thing later on. I think the amplification of it, once we create something that is thinking 100% of the time at a rate that we've never even seen before, like what it takes for you to mull over something in a week, it's doing in a millisecond, all the time, 24 hours a day. And they hook that into the internet. We're in the internet. And now our amplification is through the roof. Right. That's a different kind of being. So all these things that it just like hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, oh, wait, this is already, all these things that we're always philosophizing on has already happened. Yeah. And if that can happen, right? If enough people, okay, do you feel, like, what's your opinion? Do you feel like if you feel like you were feeling sick, right? Or depressed. Let's go with depressed.
I was sick recently.
Okay.
Food poisoning.
Did it depress you?
Yeah, it sucked.
Okay, so you're in that situation. Do you think your current thoughts, do you feel like you could be healed by another person? Non-doctor, non-invasive.
Of depression? Like somebody doing like energy work or something? Yeah, the possibility exists. Okay, it's not as potent, but it exists.
Do you feel like because of that one, like somebody can do energy healing with you, do you feel like that would change? Was the outcome could possibly change or be affected if 20 people were doing healing on you at one time?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Yeah.
Like you've been in a room with me when I've been getting energy work. That was one person, and I've never seen multiple people do it.
Yeah.
But I know even in that situation, I had to invite the energy in.
Sure. So that's what I'm saying. So possession is out the door for you in that theory.
Like something, so like
a
demon
spiritual
possess
possession,
me?
you're like, nope, can't happen. That doesn't happen to people.
It doesn't feel like it.
Okay, so this is good because this is what I'm trying to get to the bottom of this too.
Right.
Because I've been at like a ball game, right, and seen people like get all scared together. I've seen people like feel like they've lost together.
Right.
And I've seen how that physically manifests itself.
I have seen a lot of that as well.
I would think so, like at like raves, at music festivals, when there's this intention of like we're a community, and everybody's jumping in rhythm.
Yeah.
That's a physical manifestation.
Yeah.
The jumping is a physical manifestation of the feeling of that we're all together. We're all going to do this. The rhythm connects.
Even better example is when you get like for lack of a better description, a contact high.
Yes.
Like I was telling you about my cousin seeing Armin van Buuren at like New Year's Eve a few years ago.
Yeah.
She was describing, everything she was describing sounded like she took ecstasy.
Right.
But I know she didn't take
And that's not our only friend that's happened to.
Yeah.
We've had multiple friends who've
They were
said that.
in the middle of it. And that's what happens at Burning Man, by the way. The magic that happens out there is very intensified.
Dude,
that's why people keep going.
When people go see like the internment camps, I mean, everybody cries.
Yeah. You can feel that it's heavier.
Yeah, nothing's happening there currently. It's just a museum.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of dirt, but people attach this feeling to it, and then it physically manifests, right? Revolutions, riots. There's a physical manifestation of a feeling that is infectious. It feels like it's infectious. I can't prove that, but it feels like it's infectious. So combine that with now this new amplifier that you have called the internet. So if we apply those rules, if we all get together now, right? Because we could physically and digitally get together, right? We could put up on the screen, there's Korea and all our friends in Korea. There's like 40 people in that room, and then they're hooked to Denmark or whatever. They do this all the time, right? And then we're like, let's all think about making Arash's life better. Right? So there's people blogging about it. Arash is the shit. He's a winner, blah, 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 blah. You're putting it out there. Yo, I'm going to win this year. Everything's mine. I kind of feel like that was what would happen. Like it's just too powerful of a movement behind Arash. One, you become famous. That's a physical manifestation of the feeling.
Yeah.
It's something, yes, it's very basic, but it's basic stuff that we've ignored our entire lives of what that is a manifestation of.
Right.
So with the internet and the power of the internet and the growth of the internet, if you believe that you can shift energy, and the more people that put thought into a single cause can add to the cause or take away from that cause, then that can get super dangerous as well.
Yeah.
Because how many people right now, right? It would be very interesting to get on the internet and go, how many people are currently searching about UFOs? And
it's I'm not going to say this right. Schrodinger's cat. Like it's like if you put there's a dead cat in a box. Until you open the box, the cat, as far as you know, is still alive.
Yeah.
But if you open it and look and it's dead, then now you've confirmed that it's dead.
Yeah.
Like they're finding that, the more you look at something, the more details it has. Like what is it? When you observe like the movement of atoms, I think like
you see that nothing's really touching.
Yeah, it's we are not scientists.
No.
We're trying to like desperately try to describe this thing that we're probably misdescribing. But I understand what you're saying. Like I did a talk about this at Utopia a couple of years ago, and it was about consciousness.
Yeah.
If you imagine consciousness is this pond with water, right? It used to be that every so often you had somebody like a Jesus or a Muhammad come along and like really like drop a stone in that pond. and you see the waves hit all the way to the end of it. But by the time it gets to the end, it's like kind of slower and they're not as strong. The vibrations are not as like noticeable, right?
Yeah.
Today with the internet, however, here's the thing. Somebody like Muhammad, for example, he was already like a tall, charismatic dude. He married a fucking wealthy ass woman.
Yeah,
like, he already had
game.
pull. Yeah, he had game. Yeah, he had game. He already was popular on the Facebook of his day. So there's probably like another dude who was like, you know, not as attractive as him and not as popular and was saying the same shit, was having the same kind of experiences, the same DMT trips. But
the energy was behind Muhammad.
Right. And so the idea is that, like, if you imagine this consciousness as a pond, Muhammad was like a stone. You know, all the waves hit all the way to the end. Now, though, it's like hundreds of pebbles are falling into it. Every one of us who ever has a brain fart about consciousness is discussing it. And we have podcasts and Facebook and all this shit, right? It's thousands of pebbles falling into this pond at all times. Look at the vibration that's happening.
Yeah.
Constantly. It's a constant. So instead of one stone, it's thousands of them. What does that do?
Well, yeah. And
what's happening to humanity?
I know the science side of this is they would say, yes, energy affects things. Obviously, there's a physical manifestation to energy. That's true. But you have to stay within the guidelines of the universe. Of what we currently know, right?
Right.
If UFOs happen, that changes everything.
What are they?
We don't know.
Because they're probably. I feel like they're not what we think they are.
So Tom DeLonge.
I feel like it's not another entity sitting in a thing flying.
Tom DeLonge talked about this. He said the thing that interests, and he's like, I don't know either. They're not. They don't know. Yeah. You know,
but they know it's something.
They know it's something. They also know that. Part of one of the things that he was saying is like when he first got with his team that Podesta put together, and Podesta told him, "This is great. This is really great timing for this." And they had a conversation about us being able to meet their power now.
Huh?
Us being able to match their power.
Oh, okay.
Of whatever it is that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And he thinks, like, Tom DeLonge has kind of stood strong on that. When people ask why would they do this now, he's just like, I think that's what it is that they can't control his theory is they can't control the secret anymore.
Okay.
The internet is making sure of that. What's going to happen later this year is we're going to, for the first time in a very, very long time, put satellites that are better than our government satellites into the air. By private owners. That's finally happening in a big scale way. YouTube is going to have a satellite.
Yeah.
And they're going to take pictures of everything. And Tom DeLonge thinks that, and he said that actually, it wasn't him thinking this. He actually said one of the guys was telling him that they're not going to be able to hide what those cameras are going to see that have been there for a long time. And they're going to be able to see Antarctica from the top.
Right.
They're going to be able to see the moon.
It's like what we've been seeing with like police corruption. Like now they can't hide. It's been happening forever.
Now it feels like it's running rampant, and it's not. It's always been there.
It's always been this way.
So one of the other interesting tidbits is he thinks that so the gray aliens, you know, the idea of the gray, that's the traditional that those are bad. This is him saying this. That they've confirmed with him that they're bad. That we did take a ship down with a nuke. We know that now our arsenal is, and our air power, because we have been back engineering forever, and we're finally there. And he thinks that's pretty much why they're allowing this to happen now, because they're going to need us to not lose our shit. And he's like, they asked him about like how the political ramifications. He's like, I don't know, and I tend to believe this too. He's like, I don't. They're not going to tell me any of that stuff. Like that's like what's happening in Russia and all that. He's like, but they do know that everybody kind of knows. Like it's kind of acknowledged. They couldn't hide that part. They had to at least tell the UN. If they tell the UN, everybody knows. Because some of those UN countries even have back channel allies with people that aren't in the UN.
Yeah.
So everybody knows. And now, would that make sense now? Why we would not want what we deem to be, whether we're right or wrong, crazy people to have a nuke? Because now, what he's saying is like, we're not stopping them to have nukes for us. We're stopping them from having nukes for the aliens. And they could decide to start the war on their own, or start a war on their own, or, you know, because once everybody has the ability to match the aliens, nobody's in charge.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, that, yeah, I can see how that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't want them to have that.
So about my dad.
Look up Tom DeLonge.
Yeah, that's just immediately what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
God.
It's crazy.
I do not want to eat mushrooms today.
Trump brushes off a record low approval as not bad at this time. What do you have to say about that?
Okay.
And by the way, his approval rate is 36%. His disapproval rate 58%.
He got elected, and I imagine, like, do you think they had that conversation with him where they sat him down, like, all right, Donald, let's talk about aliens?
Yes. Oh, that's what I was saying. Okay, so you know how all these reports of him walking around the White House, like at night by himself? They're saying like he walks around the like these rooms and sits by himself in the dark. And dude, this dude was on a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
He's not ready for this shit.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, hell no.
He's like, fuck. Now he knows this shit, but he's still obsessing about Hillary.
He used to be able to do anything on a Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, he could go to the beach. He could go to the dinner. No biggie.
Go have an orgy with Russian prostitutes.
Now he might be called to make a decision on when to shoot the aliens.
Oh, fuck.
Do you understand?
We are so fucked.
Yeah. So what I was saying about the consciousness thing, that aliens would break the rule. So that leaves the ability now, right? At least the conversation to happen that our universal rules are a little skewed. They're probably not right on because these people are breaking those rules, or these beings are breaking those rules. So now, could we all start thinking about like Godzilla? And then you wake up on one morning and you're like, fuck, there's Godzilla. Yeah. Like in the fucking ocean or something. Like, what the fuck is happening? All this shit was not supposed to
choose the form of the destructor.
Yes, exactly.
It just popped in there. Some of our younger listeners do not understand that reference.
But Trump, man, what do you think? Disapproval rate? You think that's right on?
Does it matter after everything we talked about?
36 is not almost 40%.
Who gives a fuck about Trump's disapproval rating? They're aliens.
Yeah.
It's like that. No, but it's the Disclosure Project guy, though.
They talked about him.
We're having the same thought with him. We're like, he knows this, and yet the guy is just like ego. Just ego.
Yeah.
Like, there are aliens. You were saying this. They're aliens. How do you still have ego?
Yeah. Yeah. So supposedly, he was like one of their recent tries. Like, they're not just doing it with Tom. They're doing it with a few other people, trying to see who's going to be able to bring this through. The current feeling right now was that it was a mistake. Greer.
Yeah.
That Greer was a mistake. Dr. Greer was a mistake because he's kind of taken it on his own. And they wanted to be able to roll this out in a way that people would understand. And they're like, nobody's going to understand that.
Roll it out. Okay, so like they can't just call a press conference and say, this is it, though.
Well, this is the part that I find the most interesting. Well, so if any of this is true, right? No. Because what are they going to say, dude? Hey, there's fucking aliens. We need you all not to lose your shit because we're about to go to war with the aliens. Because that's really what they might be planning for. Like, dude, we need everybody. Probably.
Why are we not worried about a preemptive strike from the aliens?
Maybe we are. Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like there's so much planning.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe
that's what's running out.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming to a point where they have to say something. Like, we can't just let LA get smashed by fucking aliens tomorrow. And we know it's coming. You know, who knows? But 60 days. Within the next 60 days.
All right. Let's check back in 60 days.
Dude, we're going to check this out. I mean,
smoke a bunch of weed.
how would you? Do you feel like because Eddie asked me like, are you ready for something like that? And look, intellectually, yeah,
Yeah.
and because it would confirm so much other stuff for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and
We've
then,
done DMT.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Cookbook. You haven't. But yeah, I'd be bummed because I like what we're doing.
Yeah.
I want to just keep doing the shit we're doing.
Right.
Because I know that would be over.
Yeah.
Because what are you gonna do?
This is fun.
Like I told Eddie, because this is how it. I saw it literally set into Eddie's mind, the reality of it. Because I was like, Eddie, like you're ready for it? He's like, yeah, I think I'm ready for it. I'm like, you don't go to work that day. Like when it comes out, you can't go like, okay, well, we'll watch this when I come back from work. It's over. Nobody goes to work that day. How would you? You're gonna go into work and be like, hey guys, the aliens are flying over LA. Okay, well let me just finish my timesheet. Cause no, dude.
I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Because I lived in a country at war.
Yeah. This is aliens, bro.
I know. You haven't been in the middle of it. Like
it's aliens.
I know. I get that. I'm saying though that there was a time in history when Cortez's ships arrived.
Sure.
And the natives looked at it and thought it was aliens.
Yeah.
So like this at some point will become the new norm.
Yeah, but you haven't been there.
No.
You weren't there.
No, I wasn't
God
there.
damn it, you just got a latte yesterday. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like, bro.
That day you're not going to go to work, but eventually you'll go back to work.
Unless the war starts.
Yeah, no, eventually you're going to go to work.
Do you go to work if the aliens come tomorrow?
Depends on their intent.
It's like it's on. It's like it's a war.
Depends on how freakish they look.
They look pretty freakish.
What if they all look like you, Brendan?
Well then.
No, they're not humanoid at all. Yeah, because a human thing I think people would be cool with.
Super comfortable with. They then question even more the whole fact whether or not they're already among us. That whole thing.
Yeah. No, I'm saying ugly gray aliens that want to eat you.
Well, how many of them?
A lot.
Serve man.
They're in LA right now. You'd still go to work?
It's questionable.
I haven't.
I'm gonna bring into it the whole economic system on
Dude, the economic system is gonna hit.
Everything is gonna collapse.
Yeah, everything's gonna collapse. So why go?
You're all out of order. This whole quarter's out of order.
Grab all of your belongings and possessions and all that. Like I've been in a vacuum.
Touche.
Brendan, what's your SoundCloud?
My SoundCloud is Brandon Vasquez.
All right.
Brandon Vasquez. Find him on SoundCloud because
Yeah.
when he's producing Psytrance.
So-
So go find him.
That's what
he's going to work for.
What do you think?
Huh?
So what do you think? You'd not go to work. I know you wouldn't go to work.
Here's what I want to do right now. I want to make some eggs.
Okay. I want to know if you'd go to work, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go to work.
Would you?
I barely go to work now.
Would you run and hide?
No.
No. Kind of fill it out.
No, I want to see this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you know what? Here's where I'd be afraid with you, Arash. I'm gonna be honest right now. I feel like you'd go to a rave or something,
Probably. Yeah.
and you'd be those people on top of that building as
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah. In a 10 minutes. Yeah, totally.
yeah. You'd be like, "Welcome, aliens,"
Yeah.
and then they just eat you.
Yeah. No, that's probably going to happen.
Okay, wait, hold on. I want to check this thing because we're gonna do this every show.
All right.
Let's see.
Are we wrapping it up soon?
Yep, this is it.
Okay.
Doctor Who. Winter is here, bro. Are you ready?
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
For that, I'm ready.
Is that Sunday? It's Sunday, right? Yeah, because
Today
they
is
just.
Sunday.
Is it tonight?
It's tonight.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Did you watch they put out a episode 0 for the season?
No, like they catch people up?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. No, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Okay, so that's out. I got to see that.
Yeah, I'll
I
check
gotta
that
see
out.
What's up with that? Let's see. Anything else good? 2 teammates crash into each other at the Grand Prix. That's
Okay.
sad. That's sad.
This is a car thing?
I think it's a car thing.
Okay.
Disney unveils footage from live action remake of Lion King.
Great.
Let me see. Nope, doesn't look good.
Does it not look like the Jungle Book?
Yeah, pretty
Jungle
much
Book
looks
was
like
really
the Jungle
good.
Book.
Jungle Book was really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm not even into Jungle Book. I thought it was really, really
You're not
impressive.
into the Jungle Book?
No. I thought it was very impressive, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else here? No. It's a slow day on Twitter, people. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, we got pretty deep right now.
Yeah. I mean, you think that there's aliens coming. I know you do. Don't fight it.
Yeah.
They're coming. Dude, it's Tom DeLonge. Did I tell you it was Tom DeLonge from Blink-182? When has he ever lied to you? He ran naked in the streets.
It's funny. Boxcar Racer, the whole album is like about like the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But then the one song that was the biggest hit was not at all about that.
No, well, goes to show you, it's probably not that good of an idea.
Yeah.
The second Blink album was all about like aliens and stuff.
Oh, really? What songs?
Listen to them back.
Okay.
I started playing it. It's a really good album. That second Blink album is a really good album.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, shout out to Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach out to
Let's get him on the
people.
show. Yeah.
I'd like to hear that. There's a critic that I want to get on here too, because I reached out to him already, and he's interested in coming on.
A critic?
A critic of Tom DeLonge. He said he's gonna break it down.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I want that. All right. Good.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Get me back into the world.
We'll be back to normal next time.
Normal.
Yeah. Let's aliens come.
Oh God. You may now flush the toilet.
Brought to you by PlatformCollection.com.